Thousands of students are starting college in and around Boston right now, and this year, some of them will be getting paid to do it. It's thanks to a new program called Boston Uncornered, which gives young people who used to be affiliated with gangs money to pursue a college degree. Those students were among a group celebrated last week ahead of their first semester, including Alex Diaz, who after 8 years behind bars and several more working toward his high school equivalency, is starting college this month. He says he couldn't swing it without the paycheck.
I have to think negative to do anything negative. Now with the Uncornered program, they help me pay bills, support my daughter, basically pay everything that I have to pay so I don't have to do negative stuff no more.
Each student in the program earns $400 a week or $20,000 a year. I was joined earlier in the week by Mark Culliton, the CEO of College Bound Dorchester, which runs the Boston Uncornered program, and Frank Melo, who's a little over 6 months out of prison and days away from starting college. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Frank, let me start with you. Where was your life before you got involved with Boston Uncornered?
Grew up in the South End. I wasn't really doing much, I got my high school diploma through night school. And I was just, I wasn't really too serious about going to school. Wasn't really, didn't really catch my attention. I was worried about getting money and I was worried about other things other than my education.
So where did that take you?
It took me to jail. Honestly, I went to jail. Got sentenced to 1 year and a day. And thank to God I found the program when I came home.
Can I ask you what charges you were in for?
Substance, distribution of a controlled substance.
And what did you have to do? I know now you're going to be attending Bunker Hill Community College right in the fall. You're planning to go into real estate?
I want to do business and finance, but real estate is like the side thing I want to do. I want to buy properties and flip houses and stuff like that.
It's a good business to be in.
Yeah.
So what did you have to do to get from being in jail to, not that long afterward, heading to Bunker Hill with these sort of grand plans?
I just had to have the right mindset. I was prepared. I came out of jail prepared to want to go back into school. And like I said, I had a friend who introduced me to the program. So as soon as I got into the program, I just put my all into it.
So were you, and I swear I'm going to get to you, Mark, in a
That's
second, but were you taking classes?
I could listen to Frank all day.
Were you in support groups for people like you who'd had a criminal history and were trying to get out of it? What were the mechanics of the program for you?
The program pretty much, College Bound, they helped me refresh my memory. They gave me English classes and they gave me some math classes. And they basically helped me refresh my memory until I was ready to take a test, the AccuPlacer test. And they helped me score high enough on it. And that's what it is. So just took 2 English classes, 2 math classes.
Mark, finally on to you. First off, how'd you get the idea for this? And secondly, who pays for people like Frank getting paid to go ahead and further their education?
Yeah, so the idea basically is that guys like Frank are the ones that are responsible for the disruption in their neighborhood, but they want to do the right thing, and if given the opportunity, they will. And so we ask a lot of guys who are coming out of prison, but most of us, when we went to college, our job was to go to college. And so it was that insight of, well, what if we gave them the same opportunity? What if we gave them a stipend and allowed them to focus? What would they do? And they've shown that if given the opportunity, they'll focus on education, focus on, as Frank said, getting their mindset right. Because it's a change from what they've been doing, what had got them successful in the past, to learn to ask for help, to learn to be curious, to learn to trust again these college readiness advisors, these mentors in their lives.
Some of whom share a similar background.
Exactly,
right? So
exactly. The guys who really are the key to this are mentors who we hire from the neighborhoods where these guys grew up, the crews that they ran with who want to do something positive and give back. Now, at this point, we're raising most of the money privately to pay for this. The truth is, we think the scaling model is through public dollars because we already spend about $100,000 per year per individual on gang-involved youth in the Commonwealth, and we just don't get any outcomes for that.
So my assumption is that politically that could be a tough sell because I'm sure there are some people, some of them may be watching right now, who will say, wait a minute, hold up. You did something wrong, you did things wrong over years, and you were rewarded for it by being paid to get ready to go to college. I don't want my tax dollars going there. What would your response be to someone who would make that kind of criticism?
Well, my response is we're currently giving them $100,000 a year. So do you
just
want to
smart
give them,
resource allocation.
Do you want to give them $100,000 a year this year, next year, $500,000? The average gang member costs society $1.2 million over the course of their lifetime. Or do you want to spend about $30,000 per year to have them come back into society, start to pay taxes, start to be part of the solution? And these are guys that nobody else in the neighborhood can be successful if Frank is hanging on the corner.
Elaborate on that, Frank, for me, if you can. What is the concept that Mark just mentioned? That if you're hanging around in the corner, there's sort of a cumulative effect. I mean, if you hadn't been doing Boston Uncornered, what would you have been doing over the past 6 months?
Honestly, I probably would have got back into doing the same thing that I was doing before.
Dealing?
Yeah, and that's not really, it's not good for nobody, you know. So I would have just been basically wasting my life, because that's how I look at it now. I spent a year basically of my life in jail because of the bad decisions I made. So.
If you talked to someone who said, congratulations, on turning your life around, but I'm not sure down the road that cities, states should be paying for people to do what you just did, what would you say to them?
I would say honestly that what they're doing is great, because now I could be focused on my education. Without them, I would have had to go find another way to get an income. And whether that's a job or whether that's in the streets, I wouldn't be able to focus on my education the way I'm supposed to be focused. Them giving me that stipend is helping me focus on my education in a major way.
Are you planning to become one of the mentors who you worked with going through the program down the road?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't mind helping out the other students that are put in my position, because at the end of the day, everybody could get a chance as long as you're willing to take it.
And Frank came to us because one of the guys that you grew up with, Matt, had known about the program in the program and said, Frank, you got to try this out. Frank was like, I don't believe that. He came and he saw that there's people that care about him and know that he can be anything he wants to be.
You were skeptical of it when you first heard about it?
I was skeptical of it, but that was more because I didn't really, like I said, I wanted to get back into school, but then just hearing about the program and all that, I didn't really know what the program would consist of, like what they was going to help me do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So once I got to the program, I'm like, okay, this is actually, it's pretty good.
Final question for you, Mark Culliton. You guys, as I understand it, you rolled this out, but you kept it kind of under wraps for a few months, right? Why'd you take that approach?
Well, because of the exact question. We knew that a lot of people would say, why are you paying gangbangers to go to college? And so we wanted to show some initial success. We believed in their power, ability, and genius, but we wanted to have some actual success, and we have had that success.
You've got numbers to back this up, right?
30% of our year after year, 30% of students matriculate to college, and they stay in college. They're re-enrolling at about 60%, which is all higher than national numbers.
And most aren't reoffending, right?
And 87% drop in recidivism rate. So we're not paying them to go back to jail, which we're doing right now for most of these other guys.
Mark Culliton, thank you. Frank Melo, thank you, and congratulations.